Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, actually, I'm really excited to announce that Counter-Strike 2 has been officially announced by Valve, and, well, technically, in a way, it's already out. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but obviously, Counter-Strike 2 has been something that's been getting talked about a lot over the last few weeks. Tons of leaks and information started pouring out about how Valve was going to do a major overhaul of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, moving it to the Source 2 engine, which is a much more modern engine than what Counter-Strike Global Offensive uses. There was going to be major changes made to the gameplay, made to the servers, to the multiplayer, to the graphics, to pretty much everything, and it was all going to be coming extremely soon. Now, obviously, it was more or less day to day that we were getting a lot of information on the new Counter-Strike update, but today it is official. We finally have some more information directly from Valve on what is going to be happening with Counter-Strike 2, what we can expect as far as new changes, what's going to be happening with all of the items and stuff that you already have in your inventory in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We already know all of this information now, so let's go ahead and start breaking all of this down because personally, I am extremely excited. So today, Valve went official with Counter-Strike 2, releasing a ton of information on the game and also began selecting players at random for a closed playtest invite where you can play, from my understanding, unranked and deathmatch on Dust 2 with the new Source 2 update, but only if you're selected by Valve. There's three things that people are being selected based on that they announced. One of that was going to be your official playtime on Valve servers, the standing on your Steam account, and also your basically reputation. So have you been cheating? Have you been VAC banned? Things like that. Players in good standing on all three of those things can expect within hopefully the next, well, hopefully you get picked today. That's all I'm going to say. I'm hoping I get picked today or tomorrow or something, but we don't really know when they're going to be picking people. They started today apparently, and they're just kind of doing it randomly, but there's a lot of new updates to the game that I really want to get into and talk about because, I mean, this is going to fundamentally change a lot of the gameplay that we experience inside of Counter-Strike. So one of the major changes that is coming in Counter-Strike 2 is an overhaul of the smoke grenade. Now, in Counter-Strike, obviously, the smoke grenade is pretty fundamental, pretty important. Obviously, you know, the sides are going to use it to push bomb sites, you know, to clear sight lines, to make it okay to move to certain areas of the map, distracting enemies, all types of different things, right? There's a lot of smoke grenades, and they're pretty important, right? So in Counter-Strike, they're pretty basic, right? You know, they just fluff up and there's some smoke. You can sneak through it or whatever. But now there's a major overhaul to how smoke works, and one of the things that's pretty important is it's going to expand to fill spaces naturally, right? So instead of just being like a circular blob that forms kind of like all around or whatever of smoke, now, like, let's say you throw a smoke in a window. Well, smoke is going to come pluming out of that window, out of doorways. You know, if you throw it in like an open area, it's just going to completely shoot out. But if you throw it in like a long hallway or whatever, it's going to like start filling that hallway. It's going to actually expand naturally instead of just doing a random animation or whatever like it does now. And also smoke actually interacts with other stuff that happens. Like as of now, you know, like I said, you can walk through it and things like that. You can shoot through it, nothing happens. But now, you know, if someone shoots through smoke, it can create small little holes in the smoke like sight lines. If you throw grenades and things like that into smoke, the explosion can actually blow smoke away, opening up areas of the smoke. Basically, it interacts way more fluidly and way more naturally with everything happening inside of the game to create new gameplay opportunities, new ways for teams to play through smokes. And I think that this is actually pretty important because as it stands now in Counter-Strike, a lot of the times, you know, someone smokes off a site really well, you're just kind of shooting into the darkness, you know, you don't know what you're hitting. That's obviously the point of the smoke. They don't want you to see them, but this gives you an opportunity to cut sight lines and whatnot so you have a little bit more of a fighting chance if you play it right or whatever. And it also will be reacting to lighting, giving it a more realistic color and a light effect on it that actually fits what's happening in the room instead of it, like I said, just being a color that comes out basically. Now, one of the major things that was talked about in the leaks was 128 tick servers. There was going to be a massive upgrade to the servers that made the game way more fluid, way better to play, made events that happen in the game actually, you know, register faster. But actually, what's crazy is those were not true, it seems, as it's been announced that they are going to sub-tick updates for Counter-Strike 2. So this means basically that your tick rate is no longer going to matter for for moving, shooting, throwing things, basically doing anything inside of the game, which means now instead of it being, basically like, 128 ticks in that time interval is how often the game updates what's happening, it's just straight up seamless now. So the exact instant, apparently, that anything happens, a bullet comes out of a gun, a grenade's thrown, whatever, that's when the server knows it happens. It's basically going to make the especially competitive side of the game much better because, well, you're not going to have as much quote-unquote bullshit as a lot of people would call things like this. Basically, the lower the tick rate, the worse the server, so this is a massive step forward that is going to actually, I feel like, dramatically increase the gameplay quality. You can definitely tell sometimes that the CSGO servers are a little antiquated, I guess is the best way to put it, but I mean, hopefully this is going to be a major improvement on the servers and actually make the game way better to play. But on top of all that, they made a lot of graphical updates to the game too. Now, I know what a lot of people are worried about / thinking, oh, they didn't change any of the classic maps, right? They didn't ruin the map design. Well, no, they have been fully rebuilt, but they have not been altered. That's really going to affect the gameplay in any major way. It's more graphical improvements than anything. A lot of new lighting updates, a lot of new texture updates. The game overall looks a lot crisper. And another major reason why this is cool in terms of like the maps is, while we're going to have a bunch of the classic CS maps that we all love, your Dust 2s and whatnot, those are going to be in the game, of course. But at the same time, the Source 2 update basically has now made it to where community maps and modded maps added to the game are going to be much easier to build. They're going to be easier to experiment with. And also on top of that, they're going to look and probably end up feeling a lot better than the maps that we have currently. And on top of that, these updates to community maps and whatnot also are going to be mostly too carrying over to your CSGO inventory, because not only will you keep everything that you've gotten on your account inside of CSGO and it will move over to Counter-Strike 2, but they also have all been updated and upgraded to the Source 2 engine to benefit from the lighting and materials and whatnot. All the stock weapons also have now a high resolution model upgrade, and also some weapon finishes are going to look way differently because of the new models and whatnot. That's going to be pretty cool to see. So the guns are going to look better, but it'll also have all of the same classic skins and whatnot that we had on our accounts before. For me, that's definitely a breath of fresh air. I have a lot of stuff in CS. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense for them to not want to port this stuff over because they make so much money from CSGO cases and skin sales and whatnot. It just wouldn't make sense for them to not want to carry that progress over and just basically destroy their entire CS economy. I don't think they would want to do that. So it's really just an entire step forward for Counter-Strike. And for me personally, as someone who plays CSGO damn near every single day, I love the game. I'm really excited to see what comes of Counter-Strike 2, because the craziest part is even though CSGO came out in 2012, something like that, it still remains like to the point where it's hitting new popularity levels. Like, it just reached its all-time concurrent player count. I think it was like 1.4 million people or something, and that was only like a couple weeks ago. This game is still growing and it's still evolving as is, right? Like, it's still reaching an even wider audience. It's not dead by any stretch. And it's been that way since 2012. It's just been doing well, performing well for 11 years now? So obviously, yeah, it is a little bit time for a major overhaul where they're going to modernize the game a little bit and, bring it up to speed in some areas that it needed done in. And that's awesome, because this is a game for me personally, man, that just like, it's a staple. I love Counter-Strike. I think it's a great game. I play all the time, and I'm excited to play with the new changes, man. I'm sitting here hoping and waiting that I'm going to get one of these Source 2 invitations or whatever from Valve. Apparently what you do is you open up CSGO and it'll tell you if you've been selected, and you can just, select it from a drop-down or something like that. I already checked. I haven't been selected yet, but this is huge. Not only for Valve, but realistically for PC gaming too. Counter-Strike is one of the most popular PC games in the world. And even though, like I said, it's still reaching these new heights of popularity, now this gives them even more potential, right? Because they're making these overhauls, they're making these changes and doing all these things that are going to hopefully for them attract new players to the Counter-Strike series. So right now, there's a lot of hype. People are talking about it all over Twitter. There's a lot of information that's starting to come out. And Valve has actually done a very good job, I feel like, of giving us pretty great, legit information quickly, because the truth is they could have held this on for a while and just kept doing whatever, right? And just, basically baiting everybody, edging everybody with Counter-Strike 2 leaks and whatnot. But they came through, and, as of today, we're moving into a new era of Counter-Strike, which is great. Now, also, too, I want to say, while all this is going on as well, I also like to think about this. There's a pretty good chance that this, limited run for Counter-Strike 2 is going to last all the way up until launch, these limited playtests. I'm assuming more and more people will eventually get phased into it. But as of right now, Valve has said that Counter-Strike 2 is coming summer of this year, which means pretty much any time from June to September, we can expect a full-on official transition from CSGO into Counter-Strike 2. But I mean, if you want to get your hands on it right now, man, hopefully you are one of the lucky people who get picked, because it would be awesome to be playing this right now. It's definitely been a pretty great day, I feel like, for video games between the Source 2 Counter-Strike 2 update that we got from Valve and the announcement, but also too, with Fortnite and the Unreal Engine editor that's being brought to Fortnite and whatnot too. This is going to be great, and I'm hoping that, these changes that are going to be made to Counter-Strike 2 are actually going to be as impactful as they seem to be, right? Now, of course, thinking also too, the graphics, they are, I would say, a pretty big improvement over Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but I don't think it's some photorealistic, 4K crazy, just absolute masterclass graphical game. I mean, it looks good enough, I will say. I saw some people saying oh, it wasn't worth the hype or whatever, but for me, I don't know, man, I think it was okay, I'm not really playing Counter-Strike for graphics, I guess. I mean, it is an 11-year-old game, but at the end of the day, I think it's pretty alright. I think it's looking pretty good, at least good enough to actually want to play. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot more changes that are going to be coming to Counter-Strike 2 as this kind of playtest or whatever develops and they get player feedback. That's why they're doing this right now. They want people to get in early, start giving them feedback for the game, and then they can go from there. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, talking about Counter-Strike 2 and signing out.